Alright, we are back. So, finish off the NAS build. There's a few little bits and pieces that I've done since that last video. All I've done is I've just stuck it in. I actually bought another 8 gig of RAM and stuck it in. And I've been doing a bit of reading on, yeah, a bit more reading on the board. Basically, it's got some lights on the front which will show errors for the hard disks. It's got lights for the network ports on the back, stuff like that. Basically, the headers on a consumer grade motherboard don't have the right cables to show all those lights. So all I've got on the front of it at the moment is showing just a hard drive activity light, which is fine. I mean, I've got a consumer grade board, not a server grade board, so it is what it is. So today, though, what I'm going to do is configure it. So what I've done is we're actually logged into the NAS. So what I've done is I've just installed Windows 10 on it. Windows 10 is installed on that on the SSD, on a 250 gig SSD. Yep, which then has Hyper-V installed on it, which has an instance of XigmaNAS, which is the new name for NAS for free. The specs of this thing, I've got 12 gig of RAM given to it, 4 gig for the actual operating system. Which should be okay. 1 CPU. That's just the hard drive for XigmaNAS OS. And then we've got what I've done is actually the 2 physical disks, which are the 2 data disks, the 6 terabyte WD Reds. Put them in pass-through mode so that so the actual Windows operating system actually isn't able to see them at all. So the disk just goes straight to the XigmaNAS VM, and then it manages them. So the NAS is actually plugged in behind my TV in the lounge room, and it's connected to Wi-Fi. So it's not actually on my Ethernet network. So I've actually got to create a new virtual switch that will pass through the Wi-Fi NIC to the VM. So let's do that. Virtual switch manager, create new switch, and we want, yes, the dual band wireless, and we'll call this the Wi-Fi external switch. Yes, we may see stuff drop out. VM's just refreshing. Okay, so now we've got a Wi-Fi switch. So now we'll just edit the VM and put it on that so it passes through the Wi-Fi and not the Ethernet, which is not plugged in. Okay, now we can power on our VM. So I've actually already gone ahead and installed XigmaNAS. Nope. Not enough memory. Okay. Alright, well, what about if we just do... okay. Cool, now we're booting XigmaNAS. So yeah, everything came together well with the build. There was no issues. I had to just reseat the um, hard drive, slot in another 8 gig of RAM, and then yeah, that was it. Everything else worked. It was all fine. So you can see here the actual host is now running at obviously really high, 95%, because I've passed through 12 gig to the VM, and then we've got 4 gig remaining that the Windows will run off. But that's okay. I mean, this machine isn't going to be doing. I mean, all the Windows box, the Windows side of things is really all it's going to be doing eventually is running um, a torrent client. What else? Unified controller, which aren't very intensive, so I think we'll be. I think we'll be okay. The reason I've given 12 gig to XigmaNAS is because what I'm actually going to do is configure XigmaNAS to use ZFS, which I've never done before, which actually I've told uses quite a lot of memory. So let's log in. So I think I just need to change the NIC. Configure network interface. What? I don't think it's picking up. So let's see. So XigmaNAS is telling me that it's got an IP address of 192.168. Okay. Okay, so I can see it. Cool, so that should be all we need for this. So if that's up, hopefully I'll be able to get to it. Okay, great. So now the rest of my network can see XigmaNAS, and we can actually get to the web GUI, which will make it a little bit easier to configure. So let's go blah, blah. Go away. Okay. Sweet. So here we are, XigmaNAS. Right, so let's get to configuring. So I think first we want to add the disks. So let's go and add the disks. So we want to add these two bad boys, the WD Reds. So we'll do that. Yada yada yada. Smart monitoring, yes. And we want to put this in a ZFS storage pool, because that's what we're going to be doing today. Let's add that. Cool. And let's add this other guy. Yes, we want smart. And we want ZFS add. Cool. Let's apply that. Status online file system ZFS storage pool. Great. Come back to that later. So now we can add. So we go ZFS and we want to add a virtual device. We'll call this the VDev 01. And yes, we want to include these two disks in this VDev. And now we've got the different options here. So we want to create this a mirror. So what that will do is basically create a direct copy of, so basically we'll have one hard drive that will contain all the data, and then the other one will be basically a mirror or a copy of it. So what will happen is if I have a failure of some kind, if any of the disks fail, so if I've got a hard, like one of the hard drives fails, I've got a copy of it there ready to go, and it just will keep working basically with one hard disk. All I need to do then in the event of a failure is go and buy a replacement hard drive, so rip it out of the NAS, plug it back in, rip the dead one out, put the new one back in, and then it will automatically rebuild the array. So that just gives me a bit of security. So yeah, that's what we want to do. Mirror. Yes. Apply. So now we've got our VDev mirror. So from here, the next bit we want to do, I think, is create a mount point. I've never actually done this before. Let's have a look. Mount point. So add. Uh, let's take a look. So what do we do? Let's take a little look. So we've got the disks. I think we need to create a management actually. Okay, yeah, so you have to create a VDev, then you create the management. Cool, so let's do this. Dash O1 dash MGMT. We've got this VDev. Cool, so I think that's what we need. So if we go add, cool, apply changes. Sweet. Health online. Awesome. So now we should be able to add, let's do a, so we should be able to do a share, I think. Cool. So let's have a look. XigmaNAS. Let's call this. Cool. Shares. Let's create a share. Yeah, nice. Browsable, guest access for yada yada yada. Alright. So now I wonder if we can access it. So if we do, let's try it. What have I got on my other setup? I do actually have another. This is actually my old one that I'll be copying the data from. How did I do it on the old one? Yada yada yada. Guess again. I suspect we need to do something more here. Ah, serves active, no. That'll do it. Enable. And then we've got the share. Okay, cool. So let's try that. 253. Great. There we go. Now we've got our share. Okay. Great. So that can go away. So now we can access it. So basically we've got 6 terabytes. Obviously, yep, online, all good. We've got our 2 disks set up in a mirror. So we can see that. If we look at our disk health, they're online, part of a ZFS storage pool. The storage pool, the VDev is a mirror, and we've got the management here. And we've enabled SMB and then created a share. And then obviously if we go back to now my Windows host and we type in the IP address of the XigmaNAS, whoops, 253, and we've got our share. And we can access it, and then if we, and whatever, we can create stuff in there, you know, and then we've got data. Great. So the next bit, basically what I want to do is have, so that's the storage part of it. Now what I want to do is actually have Plex. Now I got to choose where I want to install that. Previously on my old NAS, I had Plex installed as a, I don't know, application or server or whatever in part of the XigmaNAS VM. Now that I've got it running on a Windows host, I might be able to install it on here. Don't know. I'd be interested to see also now while we're here. Okay, that's all good. Yeah, cool. So there's 2 ways we can do it. Yeah, previously I had Plex just embedded as part of XigmaNAS, which I may still do, which you can do with the installation of whatchamacallit, one button installer, and then you can just download a Plex distro and install it on here. That may be for another video. But today, yeah, we've configured the NAS with ZFS in a mirrored storage pool, which gives redundancy, and we've configured a share, so it's we can now access it from our Windows machines in our network. If you have any questions, hit me in the comments. I'm on Facebook, Meagering Chili, Twitter, Meagering Chili, Twitch, Meagering Chili. All right. Have a good afternoon.